I feel my pain.
Nowhere.
You feel my pain?
I do.
If you would please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if you would please remain standing as we recognize those that have lost their lives in defense of our country, both abroad and at home. Take a moment for the issues that all the police throughout the country are dealing with. And here locally, Clara Kimbrough, Louise Swinton, and Joanne Brown. Thank you. Let's start. Welcome everyone tonight. We do have Donna Leota from Rite Aid. Donna has an announcement, presentation, and all kinds of great things for the community. Donna, if you would join us at the mic, let them know what's going on. You can also kind of catty-corner yourself to face the camera as well.
Oh,
So the
okay.
people in the community know you're here.
Great. Well, my name is Donna Leota, and I'm your wellness ambassador at Rite Aid in Highland Falls. And I want to thank Mayor Flynn for inviting me to share here with you about the things that Rite Aid is doing in our community. I'm especially excited to announce that we will be having a flu clinic at the Senior Center on August 16th at 1 o'clock. All are welcome. Some of you may already have signed up for the clinic. If you haven't had a chance to, just give me a call at Rite Aid, and I'll be happy to put your name on the list. I also want to extend an invitation to all the local businesses that have 10 or more employees over the age of 18. We would be able to come out to your place of business and have a flu clinic at your convenience. And the licensed pharmacist on staff will be happy to come out and administer the shots. But if you don't have 10 or more employees, you can always come into our store. We have a clinic every day, and you don't need an appointment for that. You can just come in at your convenience, and we'll be happy to help you out. Mayor Flynn and I are also trying to put together a flu clinic for the community. So if you're interested in that, we do have to have a certain number of people. Give me a call at Rite Aid. My number is 845-446-3170. And if we get enough people interested in this, we can put it together. Okay? And I want to just let you know, too, there are other shots that we have available. We have Tdap now, the meningitis shot, Zostavax, which is the shingle shot, and also pneumonia. We have both the pneumonia shots, and anybody over the age of 65 should have 2 pneumonia shots. All right, thank you for letting me share.
Thank you.
And if anybody has any questions, they can feel free to give me a call or the pharmacist on staff.
Exactly, and that's what I was going to say. If you lose the number, if you forget where you put it, you know where Rite Aid is. So if you can't call, swing by. Donna's there 24/7, it seems. So if she's not there, you can ask for her. And I appreciate you coming by and sharing the information with us.
Oh, thank you for letting
Thank
me
you.
share. I
Good to go.
appreciate it. You all have a good night. Thank you.
Excellent. Public comment on agenda items.
Stella Bailey, Town of Highlands historian and president of the Historical Society. I'd like to speak to the board and the public on the repurposing of the 9/11 memorial. Because the Town of Highlands Historical Society was prominent in putting that all together, and it is not the first time that this subject has come up. Mayor Flynn had approached me about removing the wall and placing the plaques on the monument itself. I was strongly against it. I said there was a committee at the time, who approved the design. Many people in the community and elsewhere donated money to put it all together. And I would be greatly opposed to taking the wall down. So opposed that I sent a written letter to Mr. Flynn on that subject. It is my hope that that wall stays the way it is. I don't think it has to be repurposed in any way. It is serving the purpose for which it was put there. Also, it is my hope that in the future we can landscape the part by the road, and I would stress to our emergency personnel, the fire department, ambulance, police, to put their own plaques on that side facing the road. The fire department now has a tiny little sign in the middle of Memorial Park that you don't even see. I would ask them to contact me in this regard, and we can work that out. I think that would be a very fitting thing to have there with landscaping. It'll be a very wonderful entrance to the community because it is bare right now, but that can be adjusted. So, again, I would ask you all to leave that wall exactly like it is, like the public wanted it at the time, as a fitting tribute to 9/11 and all that died there. Thank you.
Thanks, Stella. Any other comments on any other public comments on agenda items?
Is that on the agenda?
Evening, Mr. Mayor, trustees. I see you're going to be speaking about the planning board agreement tonight. You're going to have some discussion on it. So just like I spoke at the town meeting, I believe that we need to have some more particulars added to this agreement based on what's in the village code. I'd be more than happy to work with you on that. For an example, what's going to happen to pilots should they happen in the village again? Where's that money going to go? Hopefully just not to the town's general fund, but that would go to the village. So, I just want to make sure we have all that ironed out. And then, what's going to happen with the existing projects that we have before our board now. And being that it states that this would be an economic benefit, again, like I asked the town board, how much is it going to cost us? So if we could find those particulars out before you guys take action on this, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment on agenda items? Fire?
Fire. I do not have a report from the chief, but I would like to make a pitch for volunteers. The fire department is a wonderful organization. I'm proud to be a member of it, and we do need some new young people in. We've got a couple really good junior firefighters that have gone through Firefighter 1, and as soon as they turn 18, they'll be qualified interior firefighters. I think they're both going for their EMT license. These are wonderful opportunities for our young people in the community, and also women. We do need more interior firefighters to bulk up our daytime staff when other people are in their offices. We are, in this sense, truly blessed to have West Point nearby that, should we need backup, they've got a professional firefighting department there that can come to our assistance. But we do like to be independent and have our own people respond to fires or to calls. We had 3 today. So please contact the fire department and get an application in, and we would welcome some new young people in particular. Thanks.
Thank you. Police?
We had a total arrest with 12 issues, summons issued were 94. And the revenues for this month was $458 because the media collections were not added onto it.
Treasurer.
Good evening, Board. August monthly treasurer's report is as follows. The monthly financial revenue and expense reports have been provided to the Board. Being that this is essentially the beginning of the new year, what you'll see is a lot of the revenues having been received, and we still have obviously sales tax, which comes quarterly, but the taxation and so on largely was received. And expenditures right now are within reasonability as far as spending. We have had some issues that I've discussed with the board about where the board had expressed support for cutoffs for last year for spending, and all department heads were advised of that. And unfortunately, most followed, some didn't. And we have a situation where we have expenditures that were done at the end of May that were not approved by any board members that now are coming in front of me. So I'm going to ask the board to, I have a recommendation on what to do with them and how to handle that situation, considering that those funds really were not authorized by the board to be spent that late in the year. DPW contract negotiations, the final agreement's being prepared. I think we're pretty good, Bob. I don't think there's any updates, are there, on that?
I talked to a rank and file member today, and he seemed to looking for an answer to, I don't know if Dan has sent down the final draft.
Okay.
Has he? Have you received it?
I
Because
haven't seen anything. I was just wondering on the rank and file as to their support for it.
I think they ratified it.
Okay.
We just haven't got the contract back, so we can just read it over and
Get the
approve it here.
time gates and everything
Yes,
worked out.
yes, I
Okay.
think that's the only thing left to do. I don't know if Dan had sent it. I didn't get an email from him. I'll reach out to him tonight to see if everything's working okay, and
And then we can finalize
yeah, I'd like to
everything
put that
and get
to
it
bed
done.
as soon as possible.
Absolutely. It was a long, tough negotiation. It looks like we should be good. The annual budget for 2016-17 is in effect. The AUD preparations in progress. I will admit these late expenditures really hamper my ability to get the AUD done because I can't close the books until everything in 2015-16 is done. So I'm going to be very strong this next year about the fact that if expenditures are done after the cutoff, they're going to absolutely come out of the next year's budget.
What's the cutoff date, Ed?
We made it the 15th, May
Of May
15th of
15th?
this
Okay.
year. And we had said in April that any expenditures that were outside normal and customary needed to be approved by village board members, the liaisons. I've been trying for a couple of years now for us to get some, discipline on this, because it's really a problem if we have bills from last September coming in July. Okay, I just can't, it's just way too much to back that in. So when we get to budget, I'll be bringing that up. New York Class accounts, again, the reserve funds were funded for 2015-16 as per your board resolution, and the budget has funded in the budget various reserve funds, and there was discussion in that the police department's car was being fully funded, and that is why the reserve fund had no funding in it, because it was funded in the regular budget for the purchase of the car this year. So everything's according to the budget, and all budget deliberations were in public for the public to see. Finally, I just wanted to respond to some misinformation that's been put in the newspaper and discussed. Everything that's done financially in the village is available for review. This board that's been here for 3.5 years has achieved a higher bond rating as a result of their financial steadiness through the bond rating firm of Moody's. And this board does not debt out for equipment like loaders, like police cars and other things. What it does is builds reserve funds to pay for this stuff when it's needed. It doesn't take debt for paying off legal settlements that have been accrued because of whatever reason. All filings that are required by the state and all tax cap constraints for these 3 years have been adhered to, and all New York State efficiency programs that were put out have also been followed. So this board has done everything that's required from the financial standpoint. I'll also mention that all fund balances have been under a lot of pressure, but because of the efficiencies in the work on the water and sewer, we no longer have to borrow money from the sewer department to pay the water's final 2 months, because the water, the timing of the receipts of water make it difficult when you have to pay out your year end and you're getting receipts at the beginning of the new year. So anything that the village does as far as finances is fully available to be looked at, and I'm very proud of the way the board's handled it and supported a lot of the initiatives that I've put forward, and that's one of the reasons why you have a strong water and sewer fund balance, and you've not had to go and go over the tax cap and increase taxes more than what the state allows. So I just felt it was important to put that information out because it's very easily available and I can be contacted at any point. Okay? Any questions for the treasurer?
Yeah, why are we waiting till next year when they don't pay the bills on time? Why don't we just take that out of the fund now?
Well, actually, that's going to be my proposal, is that what we need to do is when we have expenditures that are not authorized, that are done late in the year, my recommendation is I'll pay them out of that year, but the next year's budget will transfer from that fund that amount into the fund balance, so that the fund balance doesn't suffer because of an issue that really should have been adhered to.
I mean, the notification has been given, and the reminders
Absolutely.
have been sent out, so I think let's go that way.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the board's been very clear, and like I said, most of the departments have complied and done what they needed to do. But, you know, when I get statements that are like months old or done at the last minute to spend down a budget, that's not in line with what the board has been asking to do and what I've been recommending. So, and then I get peppered with questions about trying to do transfers from revenue to expense accounts, which you don't do. And I'm at a point where it's going to be very clear, if you violate the board's guidance as far as spending money, then your next year's budget's going to have to pay for it.
Ed, but there are occurrences like if equipment is ordered in February or March, but doesn't arrive until very late in the year, can that department head talk to you and
Sure,
encumber the
absolutely.
funds?
Absolutely. The issues that I'm talking about are ones where on the 29th of May, we're buying stuff when the fiscal year is 2 days, it's 2 days from the end of the fiscal year. Or we purchased something last fall and we just didn't turn in a receipt, and then in July, we're turning a receipt to get paid for something for the year before. Those are scenarios that really make it very difficult to account and keep things in the right years, and creates a lot of extra follow-up on the part of everybody. So, and again, if it was not put out and if it was just, you know, expected and nobody was notified about any of this, that'd be a different story. But this is the third year I've made it very clear that we have cutoffs. You guys have supported it in the budget process, and yet I get stuff at the last minute or after the new year with an expectation, well, we had to buy it. Well, the rule is, if you need to buy something after the cutoff, you have to get approval from a board member.
Right.
Okay, so I just want to make that clear, because there's a lot of what I would consider nonsense out there about what's really what's happening here and there, And I just want to make sure that it's very clear that all of this stuff about the way we're handling the finances are done very clearly in budget sessions, and department heads are told well in advance of what we're trying to do, so that we all know our financial position at the end of the year. So again, for the most part, everything's really strong, but when you have scenarios where thousands of dollars are being spent well after the cutoff and there's been no approval for this, you as the board approve bills and claims every meeting. That's one where that's quite a questionable scenario, especially since the board's dictate was that no spending was to occur after the 15th unless approved.
Right.
Okay, so hopefully this next year, everything is adhered to and we'll be better off as far as our finances. Okay?
Thanks, Ed.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Wastewater.
I don't have a wastewater report, but I do have some information from Johnny. Johnny and I were talking about the gas methane burning furnace for the digester building. And we discussed that the furnace is in not the best of shape, but it is working, and he wanted to get a one that would actually burn methane from the building and save us a lot of money in heating and in the process. I don't know how much revenue do we have. I think I asked him to get current pricing on this project for the building, Ed, and I don't remember our surplus, or not surplus, but what we have left in the budget down there, if we have it for a project like this.
What's the amount?
I'm thinking it's around 100 grand.
Yeah,
That's more like two.
That's going to be a scenario where we might have to discuss funding that with the ban that gets rolled over in March. And we could add that funding to the overall bond that would come out of it.
Right.
If we have the bond, that specific situation. If it's building, it's a fund, so that would probably be either a ban or a serial bond.
Oh, I thought they had a surplus down, well, not a surplus, but I think they were somewhat solvent down there in light of the additional revenue coming in for
We're talking about sewer?
sewer, correct?
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought I misunderstood, I thought you meant the building.
My
Yeah,
apologies.
the sewer fund, you have much more flexibility, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd rather not bond anything, so if we got another year to
No,
do
you
this
don't-
project, I think there's a savings that it'll pay for itself, and I'll find that information out, but it's a project that has merit, and if we have the revenue there, I just assume put this methane burner in and save a lot of money to heat the
Yeah.
building, and perhaps solving a problem of an old obsolete furnace.
The board has a lot of flexibility when it comes to the sewer department because of the strength of the fund balance that's grown over the last couple of years. So in that case there, you would be able to pay for that out of money that's in the fund balance.
Okay, I did ask him to get some current pricing on that, so,
I've talked to John about that on several meetings. The only thing we're waiting on, we're doing it.
yeah,
There's no question.
just a question of when.
We're just waiting, well,
Yeah.
we all know, the only thing we're waiting on right now is the privatization project on West Point, which we should know about within three months-ish.
Okay,
Only because if that happens, that could pay for it, and
Right.
we don't have to. If it doesn't happen, and again, according to John, we're looking at a possible 3-year payback, so
and
so
big
we
savings
spend
down
it,
the road, that's
it's
right.
right back in the fund,
Right.
and our plant is
Pretty
working
much
more
up to
efficiently.
date, everything will be resolved and
So
any issues.
that's one thing, that's the only thing we're waiting, so let's move forward, get the prices.
Yeah, I asked him to get prices, so more current price, because the price he had was a year or two old, so
Right.
I said.
And let's
get a
not just
couple
get,
of
let's
numbers.
get the 3 that we need, let's
Yep.
put it out there, do what we gotta do, so that when we're ready
Okay,
to do it, we're ready.
he's looking into it now, so
Yeah.
hopefully we'll have something soon.
I believe it's a bid, that we require a bid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying, let's do that.
I think
Let's
it's
move
around
forward.
100.
Get the numbers and get the companies, and that way we'll have the information, when we're ready, we can go.
You do. Your water and sewer funds grant you a lot of flexibility because they become much stronger.
Okay,
You would need specifications and you would need to go out to bid,
Right.
so, okay.
Senior Center.
Yeah, I'd like to make a recommendation that we write a letter to the town board. They're discussing funding and ask them to fund a position for a manager of facilities. The senior citizens have asked me several times if they could do that so that they can get into the center and not have an issue about keys and things of that nature. So I'd like a letter to be sent to the town, asking them to fund that position. That's my recommendation.
Okay.
Good, thanks.
I want to respond to that, but I told Bob that I wouldn't because I want to let him to respond to it. The town is responding to that already, and I'll let Bob make that statement. Also, Kathy Keene has been looking into several different colleges for, trying to think of the name, when the college students do like 6 months of an internship. There's actually programs for senior citizens and recreation. She's already has one name with a bio for us to look at. She's looking into 2 or 3 other colleges right now to see if we can't get someone on a 3 to 6 to a year basis as part of their college thing, and it's free. She actually wanted to couple it with recreation because she doesn't feel there's enough hours to just do the senior center. She's not sure. I did talk to Bob today about this to let him know that that's one thing on our end that we're doing. And then Bob shared some information with me, which I will allow him to share with the community because I told him I would. But so I actually, I have no problem writing a letter, but it's, at this point, I don't think it's needed.
Okay.
But I appreciate you bringing that up because that has been a big concern. And I asked Bob, I don't want to be all secretive, but after he makes a statement.
No, the seniors
Then
have
we'll
come
move
to me a
forward.
couple times in a row, and I said I would bring it up.
I appreciate that.
I'm a senior.
Yeah, technically. Chamber of Commerce meeting is this Friday for 4:30 at the Thayergate Deli. Again, they have a lot of steam. They would like to see more members, in particular, more business members, so we can move forward on certain topics that we are looking at. So if you cannot make it, please contact Jim Modlin or Tom Osa. If you don't have those contacts, you can contact the village. We'll get them your information so that at the very least you can get on the email list and get information of what's going on in the chamber and how you can possibly be a part of it.
What night was that, Pat?
That's Friday at 4 o'clock.
Where?
4:30 at the Thayergate Deli.
Thank you.
Now, for those businesses that are, particularly food businesses that are 4:30 on a Friday, might be a little tough for you. We are looking to add one more committee at this time to the chamber, and that is an actual businessmen's committee. There's usually about 30 to 40 members showing up weekly with a maybe 7 to 10 actual business owners. So we're actually trying to increase the business owners at this point. So we're looking to possibly do a businessmen's committee, a business owners committee, so that we target specific topics that the local businesses are looking for. So if you are wondering, is there a different time? Friday is not really a good day. The committee, you could be part of the committee without having to go to the general meeting. And same thing with any committees on the chamber. If it's a bad time for you, there is a welcoming committee and an activities committee. You don't necessarily have to go to the chamber meeting to be part of one of the committees and be active in the chamber, if that's a bad time for you to meet. Mayor's report. There were several activities happened between the last meeting. Dr. Matthews, the granddaughter of Sergeant Matthews, has been in town for some time, and with the Buffalo Soldiers group is working on several programs. One program they completed 2 weeks ago was the STEAM program for approximately 50 children, about 25 from the community, some from New York City, some from outside, also in Orange County. It was a fantastic program. They went on to West Point. They did several different projects and ended up at Morgan's Farm, where they were introduced to the mules and the horses. And the reason why they did that is that's part of the whole Buffalo Soldiers history. They were given a history on the Buffalo Soldiers and had a chance to meet Sergeant Matthews as well, our own Buffalo Soldier. I have to applaud Dr. Matthews and her team.
that put this together, a fantastic program. She's looking to expand the program next year to possibly 100 kids and doing it for an entire week. So she is out working very hard. She has also opened up her group to assist us with some grant writing, which I really appreciate. So my hat's off to Dr. Matthews for her efforts and her team. Also, same weekend, Mario Scalaro, Vinny and he pulls in most of his family on this one. They put on the Freedom Ride. Last year was the first year, but it was rained out. They still rode, but not that many riders. This year, technically the first year, they had over 100 bikes, about 150 riders, and another 100 plus people down at Lot 2 to celebrate our veterans and honor them and keep the idea of the need to never forget in all of our minds. I want to thank Mario putting countless hours in, his family, his friends, his committee. I also want to send a special thank you out to Chris Burns, who went ahead and put up his tent to make sure there was some shade, and also spent the entire day cooking and feeding all the riders. Also, we have a letter from the town informing us about additional water users that will be hooked up. They are looking for a phase 3. There'll be 9 users at 175 gallons per day, and Corbin Hill will be hooked up, approximately 78 residents at 175 gallons per day. The information, if anyone wants to look, the information's at Village Hall. I want to applaud the town for moving forward to continue to service the people of Fort Montgomery. National Night Out is tomorrow. National Night Out is tomorrow, 6 to 9, in 5 to 9, 5 o'clock to 9, in Lot 2, across from Sacred Heart. It's a great opportunity. It's not just for children, particularly at this time in our country. This is a event that's been going on for 20 plus years. It's an opportunity for you to understand that the police are people. It's a rarity you get that opportunity during the week. You know, if they pull you over, they're ticketing your car. That is the majority of contact people have with the police. And so that's not really a warm and fuzzy. But they don't understand that that's part of their job, and it's only part of their job. National Night Out gives you an opportunity not only for the kids to get a little crazy, and they do have a lot of things for the youth, but it's also a chance for the kids and the adults to have some time to talk to the officers. The majority of officers will be there in Lot 2. And if you don't do it tomorrow, try to take some time. This board is pushing community policing and pushing to get all our officers out on the street more, because you need to know their name. They need to know your name. So it's not, hey, you. It's Johnny. They know who you are. If they don't remember the kids, we want to go back to 50 years ago with Sergeant Pisa, where he knew exactly who you were and knew who your mother was and knew where you lived, and you better get home in 5 minutes because I'm swinging by. We're a lot bigger than we were then. It's not as easy. We don't have as many local officers as we did, but community policing will hopefully help this, and the officers are working on it. So if you have an opportunity, you don't have to be there all 4 hours. If you have an opportunity, come down, spend some time with our officers, meet them, and talk to them. If you have concerns, this is also a time not to get into an hour discussion with them, but you can talk to them about some concerns. Maybe they can clear them up for you very quickly, because sometimes that's all it takes, is a quick communication. Tomorrow night, Lot 2, 5 to 9. And I want to thank the organizers of National Night Out and all the volunteers and all the donors that made the day possible. Moving down for discussion. NYPA. Custom management agreement, letter to proceed. Sandy is here from NIPA, if there are any questions by the board. Bob?
Yeah, I do. How are you? Thanks for coming. Verizon owns half these poles in town, Verizon and Orange and Rockland. I think it's every other one, or they share them jointly.
Okay.
How do we address that issue as far as the leasing of the equipment on the pole? Is that going to complicate matters? I imagine it would.
I'm not aware that Verizon owns any poles.
Okay,
I will look into that.
okay,
These are the poles that Orange and Rockland owns, and you pay directly from the light registry that was sent to me.
okay.
And that Cobra Head is the one that
And
we're
those
talking
numbers, those
about.
342 are in sync with the amount of poles? Okay, because from what I think I remember hearing years ago, that, and I know we had issues on some of the side streets when they swapped over, Orange and Rockland would take the power off one and stick it over, and then Verizon would do it also, and I think they had joint ownership on some of these poles. It may be something you may want to kind of check out, because I've heard that a number of times, so. And the other one was, they're requiring a disconnect on the poles for these LEDs, Orange and Rockland. Is that, was that in some method of disconnect?
Proposal, yes.
Yeah, okay.
The cost of that, whatever that might be.
Okay,
Some of the contingencies in the
Right.
proposal.
it would be in
Are
there,
higher probably than what you're going to have to pay, but that's to cover.
those
you know,
types of
any
things
unknown
required,
like
okay.
that. Yeah,
And the
absolutely.
only other thing, the hazardous material, is it just the lamps that are generally issues with, to be disposed of as hazardous waste?
Basically, whatever might be,
Right.
whatever else might be, and
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm
but
not sure, I'm just curious, because
Yeah.
it must just be the lamps then.
Mostly the lamps, but there
Okay.
could be some other hazardous material that I'm not too
Okay.
aware of. But again, based on what we've done before, this is all a not to exceed. You know that there are costs in here. As we break them down, we're so transparent, you'll see them.
Okay.
And what you don't, what we don't use, what you don't use, you won't pay for. But based on everything we've done, if it exceeds that, then you will pay for it. You don't pay any more than what this proposal states.
All right. Now, this proposal, what's this, is this an agreement for what? I mean, are we committed at this point? I mean,
We are not committed at this point.
okay, if we,
But moving forward, if we signed, then we'll be committed. But
Okay.
we have to, Sandy?
Yeah, if I could, you will, when we're going out to bid, we'll bring the numbers back, we'll meet with you, and go over them, and at that point, when you choose who the vendor will be that, we brought back to you, that's when the commitment, sign the commitment with us. However, this customer master agreement,
Right.
what that is, and I do have it, I think I emailed all of this to you.
you may have,
Yeah, but I'll give it to you again. It's basically an umbrella. It's simply an umbrella agreement which illustrates the rules if you were to move forward with us, the terms for payment and, any kind of, situation that might arise. And I'm thinking that maybe legal has
this one?
reviewed
Yeah, I
it.
believe so.
Yes, yeah, it's about a 41-page document. But it's just basically the terms and conditions of how payments would be made, I'm saying payments, but any situation that might arise once you've moved forward. This must be signed before we can actually go out to bid for you. We're preparing the bids, and we've got it in the works within NIPA, but it must be signed before we can actually send the bid documents out. Also, we have some other projects that we're looking at to possibly, move forward with you with. And again, this would have to be signed before we could move forward with anything. And it's just basically the terms and conditions of working with us you know, if there are any questions that you have in there.
Well, I'm just wondering, because we do have to put this out on bid, and I spoke to the village engineer briefly about it, maybe a boilerplate contract that everybody, we got 2 other numbers also that we had to get a number on for this project.
We're going to do that for you.
Okay, all
Oh,
right.
that you do not have to go out to bid. You do not have to prepare those documents.
You
That's-
are the bidding agent.
We are, yeah, we're going out to, you know, preparing this to go out to bid for you.
Oh,
We're
okay.
doing a
Okay, I'm glad,
complete
yeah, because I didn't really
procedure, yeah.
quite understand
Right, I
on the
know,
process there.
it's like, you know, it's kind of hard to explain, but again, there's a law that, and I have the document here, the law. It's in the PowerPoint that we sent out.
I just had a
So
couple
that's
questions.
what authorizes, we're a state agency.
Right.
And it's authorizing us on your behalf to go out to bid. So it saves you a tremendous amount of time
Okay.
and, you know, money and aggravation. It all comes back to you when
Last
you make
one's
the
the key.
decision.
I guess I have just a couple
Please.
questions. So, you are preparing the bids, and you will circulate the bids, and the bids will come back to the village board.
Well, yeah.
So it'll be low to high, it'll be lowest cost
Right.
provider,
Lois, we have,
and you're circulating it only among those contractors that you are working with, correct?
qualified vendors. So
Right.
we have pre-qualified these vendors. They're all, some of them you may know, but we won't know who's going to respond to the bid. So I can give you a list of the qualified vendors that we have.
If for any reason the project dies,
Right.
how are you reimbursed then for, because the way I read this contract is, if the village, for whatever reason, does not move forward, does not select, does not swap out the lights, then NYPA would be paid for some amount for preparing the bids and doing the work. So, but there's nothing in this contract that says how much that is.
Right, and you have, we went back, because we're evolving also, just so you know. We're about 2 years old, this division of NYPA, and we're moving forward with this whole process that we have. And we are now, anyone moving forward, there'll be a fee of maybe $2,500, $3,000 for going out to bid if the community, municipality does not move forward. Because we, you know, here we are, we're doing a lot of, we're cost recovery.
Well, we understand that, we just need to
not-for-profit.
attach a dollar figure to it.
So,
though.
but you're grandfathered in, that's going to be moving forward. So there'll be
Meaning
no
that we don't
cost
have
to
to
you,
pay.
you do not have to pay. So, but that's an excellent question, because.
But that's not what the contract says.
Okay, if you could show me where
Well, okay.
that says. This is just for the, going out to bid for the document, preparing the bid and going out to bid, but, I mean,
All right.
that's why I'm here,
Yeah,
because, let me just
let me
write
see.
down.
I don't have my marked up copy, so,
But Sandy, you're telling us that no, there is no cost,
To you.
because we're grandfathered in.
Yeah, you're grandfathered in.
right,
We're
what-
moving forward, but as I said, I have to have this signed just so that I can move forward.
Okay.
We're gonna go out to bid for you, we're gonna get the bids back, and it does take a few weeks
Do
to
we,
get that out.
do we have the ability to add anybody to your bid list?
No, unfortunately, well, if they're qualified by
Right,
us.
I mean, if you look at them and say they're not qualified, then that's fine.
Everyone on this bid list is pre-qualified, yeah.
Okay.
Could we do it on the fact that you have the opportunity to,
yeah, what I'd like to do is, I don't have my copy
Okay,
with me.
right.
I would like to, unless someone has that email that I sent.
I don't.
not with
Okay.
me?
Okay, all right, I apologize for not
That's all
having
right.
that with me, but what I'd like to do is, do you have the email? Gina, you're unbelievable.
She's the best.
Great.
The best, okay.
Do you want to take a couple minutes and I'll move something?
Yes,
else?
please
Okay.
do.
So just give us a couple minutes.
Okay, I have some
review.
other documentation for you that I'm...
Oh, what do you got?
What I have here, this is what I'd advise you do no matter what, whether you choose NIPA or not. And I'm going to, it's easier for you, I have here Cooper light fixture, which Clarkstown has chosen. In
Right.
fact, we just got the okay today that they're going to move forward with us, and 3,897 lights.
Wow.
So we're very excited, you know, that...
You can't scoot us in under their radar.
Yeah, so...
Now, Cooper is a high-end light, according to you?
This
Okay.
is quite a good light.
Okay.
I have the fellow's name here. I'll give that to you, Bob, and I'll show the rest of the board.
Is that what you'll be putting out on our bid, a Cooper fixture?
What I'm recommending is you contact both Philips, this is the Philips Lumet.
Right,
Contact these companies.
Okay.
Speak with them yourselves. They will get you a sample quicker than I can get you a sample. It'll take me 10 weeks to get a sample. They'll be so happy to come up here and give you a sample. They will also do some photometrics for you. So you'll really understand in certain areas how much lighting you're getting. So it just behooves you to get...
All right, I'll make-
And what you'll do is you will choose your fixture, and then we'll put that in the bid documents, and we'll
Right.
say that it must be this fixture.
Are you having better results with either fixture, do you know, or is it
I
still
can't,
relatively new?
no, I
Okay.
can't. They're both really top of the line. There are others, but I just know that we've had success with these. So,
Okay.
you know, I recommend that you get in touch with them. And also, have you reached out to Orange and Rockland and petitioned to have your lights, to purchase the lights?
Well, we have a number, I think I have a piece of paper here with a number on it.
Right. From what I understand from Orange and Rockland, every village attorney has received a letter with the offer that you can purchase your lights. So I recommend that you, because you need to do that, we'll assist you, and you need to get a number, and they could come back with 225 or something, and we're going to say, no, 175.
This help? This was that number from Orange and Rockland, I think, is that the?
Right, that's the letter that they sent out, right? So,
Is that number, I understand that number's negotiable?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Who does the negotiating?
We can,
Right.
you know, if you're moving forward with us, we'll assist you.
Okay.
Other municipalities have paid dearly to have someone negotiate, which was a great
Oh,
thing. They didn't know
yeah.
about us, but,
Yeah.
you know, we'll do that on your behalf.
Should I hang on to that letter, or do you need that letter, or do you want a
If
copy?
do you want to send me a copy of it?
I could do that.
You could do that. Just-
Where do I send it?
I'll give you a card.
Okay.
Do you have anything else, Andy? Besides that?
Basically that, and then Regina, you'll find this many.
Yeah, if you look, it's kind of, this language is throughout the first part of the contract. So you have the study, and then if after analysis of the facility audit and/or feasibility study, it is determined that the project either does not meet the eligibility criteria, et cetera, the customer, being the village, would be obligated to pay for costs. Then after design, you have the same type of language. And after procurement, you have the same language. So this says, this doesn't say you're not going to pay for our work to, you know, it says that if you stop at these points, you have to pay.
Okay, the one, if you go back to the first one, this refers to a facility audit or feasibility study. We're not doing that. That's a separate service that we would provide. That would be an audit of your buildings. So we're not doing that with the...
But we're grandfathered in on everything, correct?
As
We're not
far, you are grandfathered, the design phase is received and provided where the design build is in that proposal. So
Okay.
you're grandfathered in
So
and
that needs to
everything.
be adjusted then?
Yes, but if so you've done this part, the design.
We will do
You
that
will do that.
once you decide to move forward with us.
Right.
So what it says
Right.
here then is, once you do that, if we terminate the project, we being the village, then the village is obligated to, that's, is what it says.
Yes, but we're not doing that project until we come back. You're under no obligation at this point.
Right.
We're going to go out to bid, and we're going to come back. At that point, that's when you will commit to us.
But you're asking the village to sign this, that has all this
Okay, you know what?
language
And
in
let's
it.
clarify it.
Yeah,
Let me go back.
please.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I have not been myself involved with the actual finalization of a customer master agreement.
Okay,
So I
yeah.
can't answer, specifically
Yeah.
to you,
It-
but that was page 6, and it was
And
the
page
feasibility study, we understand,
7.
because we're not doing that for you.
I mean, just as a general
Right.
comment, clarify at what point does the village actually have to pay you money,
Okay.
okay? And then at that, and reflect that in this agreement.
Right. Right, because we're asking you to sign this agreement now.
Yes,
I-
exactly. Thank you so
That's what it
much.
sounds like, but at least we'll review it, I guess. I mean,
Sandy,
Yes.
to my knowledge, as long as we proceed, we're not paying any money, right? It's all part of the process.
At this point, until we come out with the bids,
Right.
and at that point, you will commit to move forward.
Right.
But that's a very, very good question on the customer.
No, when we commit to move forward,
Yeah.
when I say pay, I don't mean that we're not obligated for the cost.
I'm saying actually come out of pocket.
Right.
The presentation was, you're taking care of all the financing. There's nothing actually coming out of pocket from the village.
You will not pay anything until the project is completed. There's no payment due until the project is completed. There will be a few charges. There will be an interest, IDC, my glasses on here. There will be an interest during construction. And we do not know what that could be. It could be $2,000. We have plugged in $12,000 here.
Right,
And
but-
that's just a construction.
Right, but you were taking care of that.
Yep, we're
Okay.
paying that.
So just so I'm clear, I understand there's costs, and it's part of the project, but out of pocket, cash,
The village isn't actually paying for it. It's all part of
Right,
your financing, and the savings
right.
is actually paying for the financing.
The savings, absolutely.
Okay.
And don't forget, we have added on some years to
Right.
the project cost, only probably 10 years, it might be a little bit less, so that you have a positive cash flow. So, but you do not have any out-of-pocket costs, until the project even comes out of the whole financing part of that.
Can I just ask another question? I am concerned about the, as I recall, the hazardous material.
Right.
The village takes responsibility if something should go wrong there. And I am concerned about that.
And where was that? In the
Let's
document?
see.
That's important.
Yeah.
Now where?
All right, let's see. Page 9, hazardous material, disposable waste. Now, it says that the contractor, by the way, who's going to be the general contractor? Whoever
We
you...
are the general contractor.
You are the general
We're
contractor.
the general contractor and then the project manager.
Okay, wait a minute. And the project manager.
And that's the fee that you will be paying, that's the NICA fee.
And so change orders, et cetera, is it the village's responsibility to review and approve?
There could be, we'd work with you closely throughout the whole project, but it's our responsibility.
So any of our engineering fees that we might incur would be on us? In other words, if something happens, and which, is probably not going to happen in this case, but that would cause a change order to be generated, from you as the general contractor, like it comes up from one of whoever you hire. As long as it's within the budgeted amount, you would be able to approve that change order, or would it have to come to the,
You know,
Village
I
board.
can't answer those, so that.
That's
It's
okay.
a good, it's
okay.
a.
I mean, the question, the only reason I'm asking is because, what happens is, things happen, change orders are generated, and to the extent that the village is expecting that the project is going to cost X, but now it costs X plus Y, okay?
This is a not to exceed.
Okay, so not to exceed.
Any
And
cost that the village incurs.
is that in here?
Well,
Not to
you know what I
exceed?
think it would be best, if you could, the points that you're addressing, could you send me an email?
I will send it to the board, and they will.
And we'll get that, because I think it'd be easier
Okay.
than me going back and trying to,
We'll
have them
we'll
answer.
put our concerns together, and I'll forward you the letter from Orange and Rockland and whatever Lee
That
sends me.
would be terrific. So,
Okay.
Okay.
And the only other point that I'll probably make in that is about the liability for the disposal of hazardous waste.
Right.
Generally, the contractor is responsible for that. And if the contractor doesn't do his job or disposes in such a way as it's, all of a sudden there's a problem from the state or the federal government,
Right.
I don't want it to come back to the village.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so
not.
I'll put all those
We will
down.
get you absolutely succinct, crystal clear
Okay.
answers to any of that. But I know, I'm going to generally, I'm not the engineer that's saying this, but absolutely, we take responsibility.
Yeah, that's what I was asking before,
Yeah.
prior to that. I can't imagine what other hazardous materials would be. These fixtures
Usually,
don't have any contaminated oils like a transformer would or anything like that. They're HID fixtures, so they're somewhat recent. The ballast, copper, there may be some chemicals in it, but I think the lamp is the one that has,
the lamp, right.
may have mercury in it or whatever they
And
have.
again, whatever it is, we have a fee of $6,000.
I saw that,
If it's
yeah.
over, we pay
Yep.
it. It
Okay.
pays- Yeah, it pays that. But again, you want to make sure you hear that back from us.
Do you require a bond, a performance bond from your vendors, to your contractors?
Oh, well,
Oh,
from
she-
our
yeah,
vendors,
yeah.
yeah. There is a fee in here for some bonding.
Okay.
Yeah, so
All right.
if they, if they.
Bonding
do-
and insurance, right?
Yeah, bonding insurance, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
All right, then what I'll do is, so where does that leave us tonight with this agreement?
Two things. One, let's just put the correct agreement together and we can do it in 2 weeks. Or we can move forward with Elise's new agreement when it's done. If you think it's gonna happen within 2 or 3 days and we can get it to them, that's one thing. If not, we can just get the new agreement and do it in 2 weeks.
If I could just recommend, we cannot go out to bid without this signed. So if you could get me your concerns, they will respond immediately.
Okay.
And if that could then move forward, I don't know.
No,
what
I'd like to move forward on this as fast as possible because
Yeah.
we're running out of nice weather.
Nice weather.
And this is, we're in August already. I know it's not a terrific project, but it's much more
Right.
quickly in October than
Right.
January,
And from your
Yeah.
experience, the vendors are going to start getting booked they'll work through the winter.
Right.
They'll
I know, but
move
it-
forward, but if you can get this done. the
In
more
nice
quickly,
weather,
I'd
yep.
like to
It
get
just
that done.
runs
So-
quicker.
Yeah, so if it's not too inconvenient for you we'll respond immediately to you.
Okay.
If we have to.
If there's no more questions, Elise has 4 or 5 points that need to be
Yeah,
nailed down.
Exactly.
Once that goes to NIPA, gets back to Elise, Elise is comfortable with the document, we can vote tonight to give me the authorization to sign it, once Elise has approved the final document. And obviously, we have looked at it as well. Is that okay? That way, we can move within the week, rather than 2 weeks and possibly
Oh.
longer.
Is that-
Bob?
Yeah, that's fine. It just authorizing the mayor to sign it, subject to attorney review.
And board review.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with
Sound
that. Yep.
All right. So we'll do that right now, just to get it out of the way. I need a motion to authorize me to sign the NIPA agreement after it's been reviewed.
Subject to
By council.
attorney review.
Subject to attorney review and board review.
I make that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Did Charlie second? Did
Charlie seconded it, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, watch this guy. Okay, did you have anything else, Andy?
Okay, no, I'm fine, and we will respond to you.
Okay, this obviously is
Thank-
priority, but then it also, if you
Thanks.
can, you talked about other projects, if you could just email those to us as well, just so the board can start looking at that, other projects you were going to put to the board. And again, depending on time-wise and whatnot, depending on finance, the whole nine, something we want to do sooner than later.
Okay.
But this is obviously the priority, we want to get this underway first.
Right, okay.
Great, thank you so much, yes.
Can I get a copy of what you gave the board?
Oh, certainly.
Good? Okay, planning board agreement? Are there any questions on the planning board agreement? I know we've already had Jim make a few comments. Does the board have any comments on the planning board agreement? Yes.
No, I think at one of the last meetings, we talked about creating a transition phase. Mr. Ramos has pointed out that there are 11 projects currently before the village planning board. It does not, in my view, make sense to lift those out and turn them over to a new consolidated board. Elise, how difficult would it be to create that transition? Does that have to be part of the agreement?
Yes. It does. It isn't in there
And right
now.
it's not.
It isn't.
I'm looking for a simple transition, but I believe that we need to, the work that's already been put into place.
Yeah, I'd like
And-
to, all those guys
and
stay in those
talking-
projects.
Talking to one or two people on the town board, they felt the same way. As far as, incurring additional costs on something that's already been paid for, doesn't seem right.
Right.
So that, again, I don't really think there's any arguing points here on our end, except that we want to make sure that, again, we're working towards efficiency, we're working towards better financing. We don't want to repay for something we already paid for. So as far as a transitional period, transitional whatever, again, the attorney, the architect, the engineer, they've already been paid for certain things in the projects. We would want them to remain, and the village planning board to remain pushing those projects forward. That's the only thing I can see. Is there anything else with the document besides what Jim just brought up, which you will get with Elise on? Anything else?
That's a biggie, though.
No, that was the only one that I saw that could have been an issue if, you
And the
know,
only thing, again, this isn't about control and whatnot, it's about not re-spending money.
right. And
That's
it's
fine.
not fair to the people who applied to the planning board to have a different team come in and reevaluate things differently, perhaps.
Right.
So it's important to keep them through this process until it's complete, you know?
Good?
Yeah.
Are you asking me to modify the document to put something like that in place?
I think
Yes.
so.
Okay, all right. Do I have approval to work with the planning board chairman
No.
to do
Yes.
that? Okay. And then you had other questions about,
Well, that's what I was saying, I
Pilots,
think
et
that
cetera.
with the two of you
Okay.
guys can work that out. Jim is obviously looking at the best interest of what I believe is not just the village, the entire community. The work that's been put in by the village board, again, that's time and money in itself. And there's no reason to rehash what they've already done. They've put a lot of work into all 11 projects, and if we're trying to do the best by the village and the town, let them finish.
so the assumption is that the village consultants will be phased out over time? And the town consultants will be approved by this board?
We got to talk about that. I mean,
That's exactly-
it's a work
I
in
mean, the
progress.
planning, in the town, the planning board selects their consultants, just so you know, under
Right.
law. The town board then pays for them. So if there's a problem there, it usually comes down to who's paying for what. I think village law, I'd have to look again, but I think you guys appoint, so I think we need to work that out,
Okay, that's it. That's something we can talk about in exec personnel. Yes.
Just so you know, another big concern is this consolidated board is going to be taking on an increased workload. So that's why I keep asking about the cost to the residents. With the increased workload, we've seen other departments increase the pay for increased workloads for anybody working on, say in the accounting office, increased workload, right? We gave them an increased pay. So that's why I want to find out how much it's going to cost. When I seen the previous budget, it seemed like the town was decreasing the salary that they are getting now. And they're going to have double the workload. Just saying. I don't know who you're going to get on that board. With double the workload.
Is it going to be double the workload, Jimmy? I mean, there's not a lot on the docket some months, and other months that you're busy as anything. It's just...
In my opinion, Mr. Mellon, yes, it is double the workload, because not only what would have came before the town
Right.
planning board previously, you're going to have what previously came before the village board.
Okay.
So, yes, in essence, you're doubling the workload. It's
Certainly
pretty
more
simple.
work, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
just wondering if that's an accurate 100% is what we're talking about, I guess it's trial, you won't know till you actually consolidate, and if in fact you need additional revenue for people to be on that board, then that's a thing to be discussed in the future, I'm thinking. Right now, we would just be throwing money at a moving target, because we don't know exactly how much, I don't know what the town does with their planning board. I know they're busy like you guys, but I don't know collectively, are they more busy than we are here in the village, or I'm not certain. So to assign a dollar figure to that at this point in time is a little premature, I think.
One question might be, or one thing to think about is, who sets those fees? The town or the village? In other words, for example, who sets the fees for the zoning board?
10.
Well, then they would likely set the salaries, et cetera, for
Right. Both.
the planning board as well, if you're going to consolidate. Unless you want something in here that says you guys have a voice in that.
Oh, yeah, I would like some kind of input on it, but as far as rendering a decision, it probably should be the town, I would think, right?
Would it all come out of the A fund? If you have a consolidated planning board, where does the money come from? Which fund?
It would be the A fund, but it would have to be a negotiated thing, because ultimately, village residents are already paying into the town's A fund. So,
Right.
in essence, they'd be paying twice. So really, it would become an A fund item town-wide,
Right.
and the village would not have to budget for it.
Okay.
And
But
right
they
now,
wouldn't
it's
be
not an
paying
A fund,
twice.
and just.
No, because
Okay.
basically, right now, the planning board gets a stipend, I believe it's 500 per member for the year, and if it gets consolidated, the town A fund, which is paid by all residents, would be the financial vehicle for the new planning board,
Which is not now.
which is not now, correct?
That's the difference. Right now, just Fort Montgomery and the few people that are not in the village pay the town planning board.
Right.
But once it's consolidated, it will be in the A fund, which would now mean everybody
So the village would pay as well.
And even though it's relatively small money, it'd be a larger savings for village residents because there's economies of scale of adding all the town residents with the village into paying for that board. So the net of it is that the village residents might have, 50 cents less a year in taxes or something. But so it's very negligible. It's really more of the efficiency of the consolidation of the boards that really makes sense. But yeah, it essentially would drop off the village's budget. So when the village resident gets a town tax bill, that's how they pay for that planning board.
Questions, Elise?
Just recall that the applicants pay the fees, and what you're paying for are stipends for your planning board, training, I don't know, Jim, what else? So,
All right, so what happens with the planning board is we have the consultants and the engineer in the village. We have our secretary, and we get $400 per board member in the village, which after taxes breaks down to $1 a day. So that's what we get in the village. And that's why I keep asking, because if you look at, and I'll ask the treasurer, what approximately is the percentage that village residents pay on the combined fund in the town? 60%?
Well, village residents don't pay for the town planning board, right?
I understand that, sir. What I'm asking is, how much do they pay, the village residents pay on the combined fund in the town? 60%? Around? It's a soft number that always changes.
Yeah, the village is probably 60-65% of the
65.
total population.
Great, excellent. So therein lies the problem, and that's why I keep asking, because if you look at it, right now, the village planning board budget is under $11,000, $10,000, and we don't use it all, and neither does the town. They do really good. And I believe their budget right now is 16 and change. And again, they don't use their whole budget. So when you combine them, and that's why I'm asking for that end number, what is the end number? I threw one out a long time ago, and I said possibly $22,000, $24,000, somewhere, right? And everybody said, oh, it can't be that big. So the next number that came out, that the town put together, was $18,000 and change. So 65% of $18,000 is around $11,000.
Yeah, 11, 12.
Around.
But again, you're really, the amount of money for the planning board and the whole budget is really a negligible item. The issue more is the efficiency and efficacy of having a combined board. I don't think any taxpayer really is going to see much of a difference whether or not one board or two boards. That's a very negligible number, really, in all honesty. So really, in my opinion, the decision really should be based on, is it more effective to have a consolidated planning board for the purposes of the governments versus is it less effective because of various reasons, workloads, nature of village business versus town business. To focus on the financial part of it really is, I think, splitting hairs. I don't think there's a big, it's a negligible impact on the taxpayer, quite frankly.
And again, I just have to say that I don't agree with that, because when the village residents are paying this amount now, and then it goes up to this amount, and it's going to benefit the town taxpayers, because if they're paying 16, and then they're only going to pay 7, that's a great plus for them.
Yeah, but
and don't get me wrong, if I was in the town, I would be all for that. But I just, think that the village residents are going to be the ones that are going to be paying the bigger brunt of that particular line item.
I understand what you're
It's like
saying.
Obamacare.
Okay.
Pass it and then we'll pay for it.
I understand what you're saying, but again, we're looking at more of the big picture. The town residents are worried about, again, once the consolidation study comes in, I don't think that the numbers are going to be what a lot of people think. The town residents are concerned a lot more with the consolidation of the police department that their taxes are gonna go way up, which I don't believe. The thing is that planning, police, DPW, planning is, which I actually agree, I don't think the numbers are as skewed as you believe. But if there is, of a total of a couple $1,000 between 6,000 residents compared to a couple $100,000 or $1 million between the residents, the bottom line is we are looking for the efficiency, we're looking for the consolidation. If for some reason, and again, remember, if for some reason this all goes south, there's no reason that the planning board can't be reestablished. But the bottom line is we are looking to get a more efficient government, and to do that, like the zoning board was, like rec, like the building department, we're looking to do that with planning. The one thing that's not happening is village residents not understanding zoning, rec, and whatnot, that you have a voice in everything going on in the town government, because you are in the town. That is the biggest education piece to put toward the villagers, saying that just because we went a block down the road for planning, doesn't mean you don't have the same voice, doesn't mean you don't have the same representation. It's still all of us. It could be 5 people from Highland Falls, it could be 5 people from Lake Street, it could be 5 people from Fort Montgomery. It all depends on who joins, who's approved, who's voted in as far as a board. But I also believe that the planning board itself, as far as the numbers, though it may increase very slightly, it doesn't equate when we're talking about DPW or police, which is the real savings for the village.
Planning board appointments, how will that be made?
Well, it's being proposed to alternate, like,
Town
when
village,
you,
town,
you
okay.
know.
Realize also that I just had I had a conversation, and Bill's only one member. I had a conversation with Bill. Right now, there's only 3 on the town board, and only 3.
4.
Well, you're on both.
Correct,
So
sir.
technically, there's only 6 total members between the town and the village board. Originally, they were not in favor of a alternate, because we had like 8 when we first started talking about it. Now we're down to 6. 8 would have meant 3 alternates. 6 means 1. If on that, the 1 is, whether the money is worked out that, the alternate is an alternate to step in as the next person, and again, they're guaranteed that spot because they're on the planning board, that could be done, where it's not necessarily a paid person. Right now, they're operating with only 3 and 4 people instead of 5, which they should have. And we did that purposely because we're looking to consolidate. But if the board goes from 5 active members to 4, that additional person could be there. So that's an easy transition right there as far as people are already on the board. In the agreement, it was town, village, town, village, town, village, if I read it correctly. So,
And so you would like it modified to add an alternate?
let's get a hold of, before we change everything,
Okay.
get a hold of Justin and Bob and see if, there's certain things we can't, we're not going to, we need to have happen. What Jim had pointed out needs to happen with the code.
The code.
Yes,
That-
more particulars in the agreement that concern the village itself.
Right. So there's a few of those that we really want, because that's going to protect everyone and not just the village. As far as the extra person, again, I think that's not going to be a stopping point, and this way every person on both boards has a spot.
Yeah, okay. Well, the people aren't named in this agreement. It's just who gets to appoint them.
In the paragraph just before that,
5 members, right?
right, and it talks about the existing boards, true? Because other planning board chair, this was brought up at the town planning board meeting also. True?
No, I don't see that.
No, I don't want to go through it all right
Yeah.
now. Let's, as I said, you two get together, make sure all your concerns Elise gets, so that we can adjust the information.
Right.
Get with the town, make sure, get past any non-stopping points, boom. If there's one or two, Elise will get back to us, and if we can, before the next meeting, we might have something, but this is not
Okay.
something we're trying to have done in 2 weeks. This is something we're just trying to get done. So if it takes a little longer, it takes a little longer. We want to get to it as soon as possible, because I would like to get past this, but we don't want to make any mistakes along the way.
You will need a local law, so
That's not a problem.
hopefully we can get the consolidation agreement firmed up, then we'll introduce the local law, and then you'll have your public hearing on that.
Yeah. We said from the beginning, Jim, it's got to be, you put a lot of effort and time into it, so we want to make sure your concerns are viewed in the document. I love the fact that you're on both boards now. I think that's very good for both the town and the
Got
village.
2 black eyes.
It's a beautiful thing. Let's make sure that the concerns are addressed, and we'll move forward. Okay?
Yeah, and then, Mr. Mayor, just,
Jim?
I have to. You know, efficiency is about saving money.
Correct.
That's all I got to say.
I agree. Everyone's read the letter from the owner of 65 Schneider. I'm not sure if everyone got the email also saying that the issue is taken care of, basically, according to the owner.
Yeah, I got a couple emails, and one was that the most recent email, that we don't have the permission to work on his property in the last response from him on the 22nd. And then we have this current letter that asks us to go on and take out the pipe that, the village pipe on my property, he didn't want it there any longer. I don't know how to respond to this, because in fact it is private property, and we haven't really established anything as far as ownership of this alleged pipe. It's a stone channel that's been covered over the years with cement. It goes down from the village storm drain to a backyard and eventually winds up in the middle school parking lot. We have a policy of not working on private property, but and he's not given us permission. I did ask for a letter initially before we started anything, and I asked Al to look up, kind of look into this and see what it is, what's going on up there, because there's a lot of things that were probably put in the ground 100 years ago that may have not been done by us, and I don't believe that the village ever installed a rock channel for culvert, except I wasn't around 100 years ago, so I can't attest to that fact.
Exactly.
We don't have permission to work on the property, so as far as I'm concerned, there's really nothing for us to do at this point in time.
I know that the water department's up there several times, our engineer's been up there several times, you've been up there several times.
I was up there today and
And today.
Yeah, at the neighbor's house.
We've done what we can to remedy the situation. We're not going to stop for the area, because we do recognize that the area is in need of,
It's flawed.
Attention.
Yeah, yeah.
we've already contacted Al Fusco and asked him to start looking for a grant or monies to redo the entire area, because just one Band-Aid will not solve the problem. Sweezy and Prospect and the whole block there are some serious issues. Nothing grave, but issues that need to be taken care of,
And-
that have
and-
existed there for many years.
Right, and he's in the worst spot on the street. His house is, the street all tips down, it comes down, it's like a big valley, and it all funnels through Mr. Rivera, Sierra's property. And on top of that, his house is about 4, 5, 6 foot below the street. So, you know something, even if we resolve this issue with that pipe or whatever it is, he could still have issues with water there regardless. I'm not sure of what the best solution for them is, but if in fact we get grant money for drainage, I strongly suggest that we put the top of Schneider Avenue in that mix also to repair these things, because it's a mess up there. But as far as going forward with this, I really, my hands are tied, kind of. It's my opinion on it.
It's my understanding the drainage was done on the north end about 10 years ago or so. And I know for a fact, a majority of those houses, now this is new drainage, relatively new. I know for a fact, a majority of those houses still get water on the heavy rains. Whether it's coming up underneath, not necessarily a drainage issue.
No, it's static
coming up
pressure
underneath,
coming
it's
up from
getting
under,
it.
yeah.
We went in, we tried to do what we could to figure out where the water's coming. There's not even a understanding whether it's actually coming because of the drain. So we're not being allowed on the property. I have an email from the owner saying it's been taken care of. So at this point, we're gonna move forward with Al Fusco and see what he can do about getting us a better fix for the entire area. Okay?
Mr. Mayor, do we know whether that pipe is even the village's pipe?
We don't. That's why we're not gonna move on it. We haven't given permission on the property, and there is no documentation that that's the village pipe.
So there's no recorded easement allowing the village to install that pipe? We don't know whether the village actually did it or some other property owner just to alleviate?
It's rocks, and they've been cemented in like a tunnel through the property and into the storm drain on the street. Now, I don't know what I mean, there's no surveys, there's no right-of-ways, I don't believe. Just a request to work on private property, in which case we have a policy, and now that's been rescinded to come in on property. The last email was that he didn't want us on his property. Do we need to respond to him, or is it just,
No.
the
last email we had is that
okay.
it's done.
What's done?
It's fixed. According to the owner, he fixed it.
Did you see it?
It's fixed.
I didn't see that
Second
last
email is, can't come on our property, so we have two emails. The other thing is, dealing with the water issue with O'Neill, we don't have documentation from only 40 years ago for the level of Tully, let alone 80 to 90 years ago, depending on how long that pipe's been there.
Yeah.
So, we do our best to find paperwork, and our clerks, they could go to DC as far as I'm concerned, they're that good. To find stuff that's been around for 50 years that no one's looked at for that long.
Yeah, I don't know what to think of that one. I really don't.
If something's found, something's found, but at this time,
I don't see
it's
that
been looked
it's
for.
fixed.
We don't have it, but the email that I'm most weighing on is the fact that from the owner itself saying it's fixed, and we can move on.
Water damage.
Okay?
Yeah, I don't think you.
Repurposing of 9/11 Memorial.
Who fixed it?
I've been approached by a
Okay,
lot of
great.
people,
That's good.
which is why I just wanted to bring it up for discussion. We don't want to touch the actual memorial at all. A lot of people want to see the memorial better from the road. They want to see it from across the street. That's what's being brought up, is that the wall blocks the majority of the monument and you can't really see it. That was brought up. The reason why I did contact the historian earlier, the reason why it was brought up again is because in 2 weeks, we're going to be putting, not us, but with grant money, about $20,000+ into Memorial Park, upgrading gazebo, walkways, foliage, the whole nine. During that, there was a question by the people from Home Depot of the wall. They didn't, one way or the other, they want to know what we're doing. So I wanted to make sure we had a discussion here, not to get rid of the wall, but there was a master plan years ago about Memorial Park, but also I believe that the resurgence of the veterans group in town, I'd like to actually get them more involved in the fact that Memorial Park primarily is for veterans. I'd like to get them more involved in the fact that we really don't have any representation from Iraq or Afghanistan, and we have vague representation from Vietnam and Korea. So I think that we really need to relook at Memorial Park as a whole. And one other thing I would love to research is the plaques down there right now, even for World War I and World War II, are just general plaques. They don't, I see in other areas, they get a lot more specific. We know now, for those that we've lost in earlier conflicts. But, you know, I would love to honor those that, specifically, that we've lost. And the 3 pieces of the wall, and this was brought to me, it wasn't, what didn't come from me, but it was brought to me from one of our residents. They felt that they could be repurposed individually. One say Iraq, Afghanistan, depending on, again, what is the group comes to it. But the main purpose for the discussion is people want to see the 9/11 memorial. They feel the wall takes away from it, and they also want to see more representation from our other conflicts and people in the community that have died, you know, and that have given their life, and those that have risked their life and have come back. So that's the main reason for the discussion. I think, hats off to the committee for bringing the steel to the community and erecting the monument. I just think moving forward that we can do more with the 3 pieces. And when I look around, whether it's at Patriot Garden, whether it's Fort Montgomery Fire, up in Cornwall, they all are very similar. And if we repurpose the wall, ours will look more like a majority of the others, where you can actually see the entire monument from wherever you are. So that's why I brought it up. Any comments?
I have lots of comments.
I'm asking the board right now.
I know.
Okay.
Well, I know Ed Rose came to us when we were doing the art walk. Is he a member of the Memorial Park Committee?
I have no idea.
I've never seen a master plan for Memorial Park. Does it exist?
I don't want to throw anybody's name out there, but I was told that, I was given a couple of names. Ed was not one of them. He may have been on it. I was told that there was a group years ago that put together a plan, whether it's a master plan or not. And if not, then maybe that's what we need to do. There has been 1 or 2 people that have come forward and said, can we do something to specifically honor each, Army, Air Force, Navy, because we have all the representatives here. The Marines better be represented, or he's going to come down here hard. But again, I don't see that it's. I'd like to look for the master plan. I'd like to see us put a little more thought into the park as a whole, rather just piecemeal it when things come along, and then it's at one point we're done. There needs to be another area to build, because we don't want to put 50 monuments in this small space and no one can actually walk the space and honor the people that the monuments are there for.
Well, I know at least one of the trees down there is a memorial.
Correct.
If we're talking about landscaping, other people might want to do memorials that are living trees, and that needs to be given some thought.
Right.
Do the vets want other conflicts and wars mentioned?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I've been approached by several veterans that are looking for a little more update. Nothing, with the exception of the World War I, World War II main piece, which on the back kind of includes Korea, mentions it. But again, it's a general, we appreciate everybody that fought. Where a lot of other places that I see, they get more specific about who actually participated. Any thoughts, Bob?
Home Depot on that monument, do they have plans on dialing that wall up a little bit on?
They weren't really sure what to do. That's why
Okay.
they had asked us what we were going to do with it.
Okay.
I mean, you could do,
It should, I don't want Home Depot doing that. I want the vets and the citizens to have an input about how they want that memorial park situated. I don't want Home Depot coming into
No, I was
that.
just
Home
curious
Depot's
on,
not making a decision
like
on
on a
it.
plan.
I'm just
you know?
saying what I want.
Yeah, yeah.
and understand, before anyone gets, you know, Home Depot's coming down and putting over 20,000 into,
I
and
think
the
that's-
main piece is the gazebo. They're redoing, they're repainting it, they're putting more benches in. They're not changing the park around,
No, I think that's
just so we
great.
understand.
I would like the vets to have a say in it, that's all.
Oh, no, I agree, but I'm just wondering what their thoughts on that matter were, you know, because I don't know what would, you know, on the back, I know the wall is not real appealing on the back side, and I remember when they first did it, they had plants and stuff on the back, or mums or something in the fall, it looked great. I'm just wondering what their concept of that would be.
They really didn't have, we went back to 2 or 3 times. And again, they were concentrating more on the gazebo and the other areas because they didn't know what was going on with the wall.
I think all the wars ought to be recognized.
I agree.
It's Memorial Park, right?
So, are you in favor of repurposing just the wall? Not touching the thing, the 3 plaques that are on the wall will be stationed on the memorial, the actual memorial.
Well, when you say repurposing, are you talking about dismantling the wall and moving those?
Yes.
I don't think,
They're 3 separate pieces.
oh, they
They
are?
are. And they were placed in so they can be pulled back out.
Really?
That's what I was told.
They're probably precast.
Right. And the people that were, a couple of people that came to me actually were saying, like, one piece being for utilizing it for the Iran conflict, the Afghan conflict, the whole Middle East, depending on what comes up. And again, I don't want to be that person. I agree with Brian to allow the veterans and other community members that want to be part of it to be a part of it. But you can actually, you can use the 3 walls together. You can use them individually in different areas of the park, depending again on what a group will come up with. But the other big piece is not just the repurposing, it's the fact that I've been approached by a lot of people, and a lot of people are touchy about it because they consider the wall to be part of the monument. I don't. I consider the wall to be blocking the monument. The monument is the steel that came in. It's, you know, there's nothing on the wall except the 3 plaques, and on all the other monuments, the plaques are on the actual monument. So, I know a lot of work went into it. We can still utilize the wall to honor veterans of other areas. My thought is to utilize it in any other way. It's part of the 9/11 memorial. It's a huge piece of concrete. I'm trying to think of what could be done and why wasn't it done when it was first established. I don't think anything, you know, that's why I think that's why I'm confused, and I think a lot of other people are. Why, if you wanted the wall, why was it there? What was the point? And that's what I had put to our historian, because I think there needs to be a point. You know, there just shouldn't be things in Memorial Park. There needs to be a reason for it. So
Stella did make the suggestion, was the first time I had heard it, that
Me
there
too.
should be ambulance, fire plaques on, I guess, the other side. I'm not prepared to vote on it tonight, but I think if we are getting a grant for Memorial Park, maybe there should be a veterans organization that, as Brian said, looks at the whole thing. And that could include the repurposing. There is a hue and cry for it.
okay, right?
No, I already had that, I agree. But bringing the vets in.
Well,
I don't want the thing to be a political football. I get tired of it.
I agree.
Bring in vets, bring in people from the community, and let's look at it and what meets the needs of our vets. Doesn't have to get on the other end of the political spectrum.
I agree.
It's boring.
Bob?
It's Memorial Park. The vets should have to,
I agree.
whatever they say is what they want. I'm fine with that. You know, I'm not an architect or anything. I don't know what's going to look good down there. Let's get some input.
Mary Jane had her hand up.
With that, I would like to, I heard everyone say it, just give me a second to say one sentence. I would like to reemphasize to our vets, again, to be more organized. It's important that we join the only vet organization existing in the town right now, and that's the American Legion, and it is open to all vets. This is a group that could help organize all efforts, which is what we did with Mario Scalaro, who organized last year's event and by himself, and this year's event with one or two people. We've talked to him about next year, working with the American Legion, so there's an actual group behind it. He doesn't kill himself. So that's my plea out to the vets. Get involved because we want as much input as possible on these projects. Mary Jane?
I'm glad you decided to wait, because that wall, which isn't always the most attractive thing, I agree, but a lot of private citizens and fire departments and emergency services workers donated to that whole monument, not just veterans. So it's important to wait to get their input as well, I think. People who donate significant money.
Well, that's, yes, I agree. But moving forward, we're looking for more veteran input on all of Memorial Park. That's what we were discussing.
Absolutely. But again, those people who donated to that, their opinion should be considered as well.
Anything else? Excellent. Moving on to new business, I need to approve the minutes as written for the regular board meeting, July 5th, 2016.
Citizens.
Special board meeting, July 9th, 2016. Regular board meeting, July 18th, 2016. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I need a motion to authorize the mayor to sign a renewal service agreement with Furcliff Technology for computer supports.
So moved.
Is it working for the people in the office?
Yes.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
Aye.
I need a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the CFA grant application for $100,000 for dredging of Roe Park Pond.
What's this cost us, Pat? Is there any fees on this?
No.
100%
Up to 25,000 match.
So if we get it, it's $25,000 match.
Okay.
We are going to look for other,
5,000 or 25%?
both. It's 100,000, so 25%.
Oh, sorry.
Be 100,000,
Sorry.
25,000. Ah,
You do have the incidental engineer costs.
right. But the bottom line is, the reason why we're getting we're getting additional costs for treating the lake on a regular basis is because it has become so shallow that you can pretty much walk across the entire thing on a regular without getting that wet. It
wouldn't
needs to
do
be
that.
dredged. We've lost
I
the
wouldn't
one
want to
side
Yeah.
of the pond completely as far as walkability. You have to walk up and around instead of where you used to be able to walk around. We've lost a good 5 to 10 feet around the lake, and that's what we're going to try to recapture. And then during this process will include, this is actually the second part of a CBDG grant. We're actually going for 200 or 300,000 for the CBDG to make the improvements on the bathroom next to the pool.
Okay.
And then the CBDG grant is actually for the path and improvements on the land. That didn't include the dredging. So this one is specifically for the dredging, so we can recapture 5 to 10 feet around the pond. Then the CBDG grant, which would both come in around the same time, would work on the path, some other improvements around the lake, and specifically the bathroom because right now, for those that don't know, it's locked. It's locked down and unused. And I don't know how long it's been that way, but it's been that way for a little while. And so they're only using the bathrooms over at the pavilion. So, I think it's important, particularly for handicap accessibility and for people that, I don't know, pool areas used with small children. You don't want them to have to run to the pavilion and not make it. So, those are the two grants that are in right now.
The bathrooms over there, I don't think are in very good condition.
They are in
Not
very
building,
bad
no,
condition,
That's tough,
actually.
that's in tough shape, that building.
That's why we put the grant in, to improve, we're talking about a serious improvement, not just, opening, letting some air in. Full handicap accessibility to both ends, all kinds of improvements, there's a whole list. A group came down from CBG, actually, months ago. We met them at Roe Park to go over the possibilities, and they were in favor of the project, which was good. Any other questions? Is there a motion?
I make the motion.
Bob, and then Charlie. You got him right before you, Charlie. Sorry about that. So Bob, motion, Charlie seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All approved?
Yes.
Okay, we have a resolution on property maintenance for 31 Fort Putnam, whereas a longstanding violation of the village property maintenance law, chapter 170 of the Village Highland Falls Code, has existed for 31 Fort Putnam, designated as tax map number 103.6-4, and whereas the property owner have been given the notice, the due notice of said violation, and have been directed to correct the violation, whereas the property owners were given due notice of public hearing to be held on the board, by the Board of Trustees on August 1st, 2016 at 7 p.m. to determine whether the violations have been properly remedied and whether to order the corrective action be undertaken by the village to correct said violation, and the property owner's cost expense to bill said cost and expense to the property owner and to levy same against property. And whereas the public hearing was duly held by the board on August 1st, 2016, is the owner present?
You need to open a public hearing.
Thank
Why
you.
don't you read that?
Really? You went through the whole thing? You could have stopped me. Stop
Well,
it. Don't do that to me. At this time,
Well, you should really read it. You should
Okay.
really read it, and then finish reading it, open the public hearing, close the public hearing, do the
why
resolution.
stop me then?
I'm sorry.
He was just gonna do that.
It was a good move. It was a good move. I got your
I like
got
to
your
hear
number.
your voice,
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor.
Is the owner present?
Did we come to a conclusion where we had a deceased owner last month?
Yes, that's right.
Oh, is this the one?
No, it's
This is
another one.
one.
It's another one.
So long as he was properly noticed, in other words, I believe it was posted, the public hearing notice was posted, and it was sent to the estate,
Okay.
then you're fine,
Right.
yeah.
Good?
Good to go.
Okay. The owner's not here, correct? Okay. Whereas the owner did not appear and the owner was not taking the steps to correct the violation still exists, whereas the Board of Trustees is authorized pursuant to Section 170-6 of the Property Maintenance Law to authorize the village to undertake to remedy such violations at the property owner's cost and expense.
Close the public hearing.
No, now for, close it and then
You
now
need
for?
to, you need to close the public hearing.
Okay.
Open the public hearing on motion.
I need a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Is anyone here to speak?
Is anyone here to speak for Fort Putnam? 31 Fort Putnam? No.
Motion to close.
Motion to close.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now, therefore, be it resolved that the village, its contractors, or agents shall enter upon the property to correct the aforesaid violation, and that all costs incurred by the village, including administrative, legal, and corrective costs, be charged to the property owner, and such charge shall be added to the tax bill of the property owner if not paid within 30 days of the notification to the last known address of the property owner as shown on the village tax records. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Roll call, trustee Mallon.
Aye.
Trustee Albert.
Aye.
Trustee Garfey.
Aye.
Mayor Flynn.
Aye. I need a motion to open the public hearing on 11 Center Street.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas longstanding violations of the Village Property Maintenance Law, Chapter 170 of the Village Highland Falls Code have existed on 11 Center Street designated as tax map number 104-2-28, and whereas the property owner have been given due notice of the said violation and have not been directed to correct the violation, and whereas the property owner have been given due notice of a public hearing to be held at the Board of Trustees on August 1st, 2016, at 7 p.m. to determine whether the violations have been properly remedied and whether to order that corrective action to be undertaken by the village to correct said violations at the property owner's cost and expense, to bill said cost and expense to the property owner, and to levy same against the property. And whereas the property hearing, a public hearing was duly held by the Board of Trustees on August 1st, 2016, is the owner present? The owner did not appear, whereas the owner have not taken steps to correct the violation, and the violation still exists. And whereas the Board of Trustees is authorized pursuant to Section 170-6 of the Property Maintenance Law to authorize that the village undertake to remedy such violations at the property owner's cost and expense. Therefore, be it resolved.
No, wait, you need to close the public hearing.
Thought I closed it after.
Well, you take the vote after you close the public hearing. So you, right? You're getting ready to,
Getting ready.
okay. So,
You're doing it yet, though. I was going to do it now, therefore. You want me to close it beforehand?
yes,
Sure. This time, I'd like to close the public hearing.
unless there's someone here to speak.
No? No? Closed.
You need a motion?
Motion closed.
Thank you.
Second.
Just a little behind. That's all. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now therefore be it resolved that the village and its contractors or agents shall enter upon the property to correct the aforesaid violation, and that the costs incurred by the village, including administrative, legal, corrective costs, be charged to the property owner, and such charge shall be added to the tax bill of the property owner if not paid with 30 days of notification of the last known address of the property owner as shown on the village tax records. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Roll call, trustee Mellon?
Aye.
Trustee Howard?
Aye.
Trustee Murphy?
Aye.
Mayor Flynn?
Aye. Need to open a public hearing on 9 Sweezy Avenue.
So moved.
Second?
Waiting. Work with
Second.
me.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Is there anyone here from Sweezy Avenue? 9 Sweezy Avenue to represent the address? No. Whereas longstanding violations of the Village Property Maintenance Law, Chapter 170 of the Village of Highland Falls Code have existed at 9 Sweezy Avenue, designated as tax map number 103-25-8.2, and whereas the property owner has been given due notice of said violation and have been directed to correct the violation, and whereas the property owner has given the due notice of the public hearing to be held on the Board of Trustees on August 1st, 2016 at 7 p.m. to determine whether the violations have been properly remedied and whether to order the corrective action be undertaken by the village to correct said violations at the property owner's cost and expense, to bill said cost and expense to the property owner, and to levy same against the property. And whereas a public hearing was duly held by the Board of Trustees on August 1st, 2016, and whereas the owner did not appear, whereas the owner has not taken steps to correct the violation, and the violation still exists, and whereas the Board of Trustees is authorized pursuant to Section 170-6 of the Property Maintenance Law to authorize the village undertake to remedy such violations at the property owner's cost and expense. At this time, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now, therefore, be it resolved that the village's contractors' agents shall enter upon the property to correct the aforesaid violation, and that all costs incurred by the village, including administrative, legal, and corrective costs, be charged to the property owner, and such costs shall be added to the tax bill of the property owner if not paid with 30 days of notification of the last known address of the property owner shown on the village tax records. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Roll call, trustee Mellon?
Aye.
Trustee Howard?
Aye.
Trustee Murphy?
Aye.
Mayor Flynn?
Aye. Okay. I need a motion to accept the resignation of James McDonald with great regret, part-time water plant operator, effective August 15th, 2016.
Motion.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yep.
I second it.
I want to thank Mr. McDonald for his service, many, many years of service. We appreciate all he's done for the community. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I need a motion to accept the bills and claims for the fiscal year 16-17 in the amount of $96,326.88.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I had mentioned a couple members. I wanted to bring up out of my budget. Ed, do you want to leave the room? I want to bring a motion of my budget for those, we brought up the, mention today of the grant for Memorial Park, 10,000 in product, approximately another 15 plus in manpower coming from Home Depot. That is one of the projects that Kathy Keene is working on for the village. I did want to come out of my budget for a small stipend for her because she wants to continue working on grants and projects for the village. She did not ask for the grant, but I feel that she will be able to focus more on the projects with a little help from the village. She is dedicated and has several projects in the hopper right now. As far as the stipend, I am asking for $1,000 stipend and another $500 on future grant projects. Comments?
If the funding is contingent upon approval from our money manager, if the funding is available,
I'd leave the room. Yes?
How are you going to pay that out? Is it based on completion of the project, or?
Well, the one project for the $1,000 is we've already received the grant, and it will be done, they're coming on the 17th. Home Depot's coming on August 17th to do the project at Memorial Park.
Okay, you have a contractual account. That account has $1,500 in it, and that's available for mayoral items. Now, you could also consider, if this is a beautification project, to pay this out of beautification, which I think is probably a more appropriate place to pull it out of. But
Sold. As per the treasurer's recommendation.
I make a motion. Accept the treasurer's motion.
And beautification has the revenue?
yeah, I'm pretty sure I think there was 10,000 in there. I can check.
I made a motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Guys, don't be so excited. I think it's key that you keep your emotions to yourself.
You don't know if she will accept it yet.
Really? Are you okay with it? I think she will.
You have
I'm gonna take a
7,000.
leap of faith here.
You have 7,000 in beautification.
Okay. I appreciate that. I believe it's money well spent. I believe that we will see a lot more out of Kathy. And again, she wasn't asking for it, but as the person that's seeing all the work being done, I believe it's more than worth it. And I appreciate your votes. In fact, did we do that? Did I actually do the vote?
Yeah.
I had a first and a second. Did I do it?
Yes.
I did. Okay, thank you.
So that was $1,000?
What's that?
That was 1,000? And what was the 500?
500 on, it's 500 for potential other projects, meaning that she comes through with another major grant, we're looking to go an additional $500.
So you didn't vote for that, though?
Yeah, I think we did.
Well, no, it was the
You
1,000.
probably want to do that. You want to do that when that materializes.
Wait,
Sold.
Yeah. It's like,
$1,000 when it
it's
materializes.
a signing
Make that a
bonus
step.
if she gets another grant.
Is that what we're doing?
So if other people write grants, can they get stipends from you too?
Maybe. That'd have to be a board vote, I think. But please, feel free. This is not her first. She's actually done 4 or 5 already on her own. But yes, if you get me $20,000, I will give you $1,000.
It's actually typical to compensate
Yes.
people for writing grants.
I will pledge myself that if you get me $100,000, I will give you $1,000. Give me $100,000, I'm there for you.
She got 10,000, you gave her 1,000.
That's more closer to 20, but I'm okay with just giving out $1,000 for $1 million. It's really more of your heart than actual cash. You know, the cash. You're concerned about how it's going to help the village. Okay, board comment.
We got some artwork in our thing from Mr. McElroy. Is that his yard?
Yes, that's,
Is there something, it's,
oh, can I talk about it?
yes, please do.
See why not?
I recognize his work.
Cindy Modlin and I went up to the McElroy's home to look at some of his sculpture because there was the desire to keep the art walk alive even during the construction period at South Post. So we had put out some feelers for local artists. And his new pieces are rather extraordinary. You've got black and white photos of 3, 2 stainless steel ones are absolutely phenomenal. My photo doesn't do it justice, but this one, it's that kinetic structure right there. It spins. They're both phenomenal, and the bouquet of stainless steel flowers.
He does incredible work.
It's
Quite well.
whimsical and it's gorgeous. But I did speak briefly to Elise about drafting a very basic release because he understands that we can't be responsible for any damage, but he still seems willing to exhibit, and he's got the capacity to move these structures and put it on one of the pedestals. So,
Great.
Yeah, that's,
Fantastic. Let's move forward.
oh, good. Do we need a formal vote?
When we do it. Let's prepare the release and
Vote
move
on
forward
it in
then,
2
yeah.
weeks?
Yep,
Okay.
cool. And once we have the release, we can start. Do we need to vote on it at all, or can we just move forward?
no, I think you just move forward.
We just move forward. So once release is done, if you can get it to Charlie,
Yeah.
Charlie, you're dealing with him, we start moving forward. I think it's great. Thank you. Before I finish the board comment, before I forget, we have a truck down at DPW for repurposing. We have to double check and make sure it's okay with the Fort Montgomery Fire. They initially wanted to give it to the fire department, but I wanted to bring it up for discussion and the fact that the reason why we had a second truck at the water department, there was a necessity. Kevin has been using his own truck, and because the water department people are in the other truck doing 2 different things. And there's been some concern that he's driving around his own truck during the day, what's going on. He's working for the water department. But if you're going up to Bog Meadow and you're going to read meters, you need 2 trucks. One of the things Kevin has relayed back to me is that there are times where, because there's only the 1 truck, that there's inactivity by the members because they need to move. Unlike the sewer department, which the majority of their work is at the sewer department. They're not really reading meters unless there's a break. They're primarily the sewer department. The water department needs to be at Bog Meadow on a regular basis. They need to be out reading meters, doing hydrants, a lot of different things. We have a truck right now at DPW. Gary says it costs about $1,000 to put it into use. And I believe that we are doing a disservice not having both of them on the road as often as possible. So I wanted to bring it up for discussion. Bob?
No, they've been talking to me too about the truck, that there is a need for a second truck. I don't know how much we have in the reserve funds for a vehicle for Kevin. Can the water plant, you're talking about a second-hand truck. I'm just thinking, you're looking maybe next year to purchase of a new truck for him, which is probably, I don't know what kind of condition this truck's in.
Definitely don't want to purchase a new truck, but
Okay.
that's up to you if you want to bring that up.
Well, I just need to get it out there. What do we have in reserves? Is it 20?
Well, ultimately, you know, the water department did ask for a truck. The board, you know, denied that for various reasons. How much is it going to cost to put this truck on the road?
According to Gary, 1,000.
And what kind of time is expected, duration, useful life based on that investment? You know, is it getting new tires, or why does it need the 1,000?
I'm not sure.
It was my understanding it also is going to need new tires.
On top of the 1,000? That's not the 1,000 Gary's talking about?
You know, the way really to consider this is a new truck is about $35,000. If Kevin believes he can get a year or two out of the truck before his reserve fund for the vehicle gets to where it can pay for it all,
Yeah.
spending a couple $1,000s on that truck is money well spent.
Yeah.
And he has money in his contingency to be able to cover that.
So next year's budget, will you have enough in the reserves for the vehicle?
2 years. I don't have the budget with me, but I think we are on our third year this year of contributions, because you've allocated $20,000 to the water department's vehicle reserve fund.
Okay.
You have another $10,000 in the budget this year that you will, at the end of this fiscal year, make that contribution. So I would say next fiscal year, you would have enough funds to buy a new vehicle. So using their contingency, which both the water and sewer departments have healthy contingencies, if it can be done for a couple $1,000s, I think it would be a good
deal.
road step.
Right.
As long as the water department understands that we're not going to sink a lot of money in this vehicle, because in talking to Gary previously, at least when we were talking about commandeering it for the fire department, it didn't seem like a practical idea. But if we're going for a short term, and does it need to be painted?
Well, I don't think we didn't pick the last one.
I think they worked out of, the highway department worked out of the old, that red box truck.
You can also put a decal, the magnetic decals that say water department on them. The Jeep that was there, I think was an old police vehicle, right? It looked like an old police vehicle, didn't look like it was a water department truck. So if you spend $2,000, $3,000, you know, you figure the cost of a truck probably, if you had a new one, if it's, let's see, 10 years useful life, it's about $4,000 a year. So if you can spend less than that and get a 1 year's use out of it, you're okay.
Motion?
Motion. Second.
Game, anyways. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any other board comment?
Yeah, on these houses that we're looking at, you know, they have to be, lawns have to be cut and things like that. I would like that, if a real estate agent is going to be selling a house, that they talk to people and say, listen, these are the rules of the village. If you're in another state, find someone to take care of this house while it's on the market. I think they should be supporting that. Keep your house in good shape. Same with the snow. If you're selling a house and you got snow all over the place, find someone to do that snow. Remind them, that's part of the deal. They could even talk to the Chamber of Commerce. You know, you're walking down some of these streets and you got grass taller than me, taller than I am. I mean, that's ridiculous. If you're selling that house, talk to those people before you sell it. This is what needs to happen. You can't do it, the village is gonna come and they're gonna do what they need to do.
I have a question for Elise. if you have a property that is not on the tax rolls, we can't attach anything to the tax bill. Do we have an alternative for setting a fine for entities that are tax exempt?
You can set fines, I'm not sure. Yeah, you can set fines. I'd have to look at your property maintenance law and your housing code to see how you could do that. But now you go to court to collect those
Right.
fines.
Yep.
Can't put it on taxes that we don't collect. So we do small
So
claims
so
court,
you
just
have
like
to initiate
all
a,
those.
like a small claims court, local stuff.
That's all I have.
Okay. Anything else, Bob?
I had somebody ask me about weeds in the sidewalks this week.
Oh, yeah, me too.
And from what I understand, that it's the owner's responsibility on the sidewalk in front of his house, from the message that I got. I don't know if it's an accurate one. I'm assuming that it is. Much like snow, or I'm assuming he's responsible. Does the village, I know years ago we used to spray, but I don't believe we do that anymore. Is it the chemicals we're not allowed to spray, or is it,
I'll touch base with Gary tomorrow.
okay, okay.
Either or, they need to be taken care of.
Commercial spraying requires a state license.
Yeah.
You actually have to hold two certificates, one individual and one for the business. So you have to either have one of the members, like I know in the town, I think Rick Jersey is certified and he holds a license, or you can hire a private company to do it and they hold a license and they'll do the work as a contract. But homeowners can just put Roundup and there's no license requirement.
That's what I
But to
understand.
do a commercial application, state law says you have to, the applicator has to have a license and the firm has to have a license to do it.
Bob, we spoke to the same gentleman. I think he wants the DPW to do that.
Yeah, that's kind of where I got, and I did call Gary, and that's basically, I just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page, that we don't have a guy who has a license, so at that point in time, I guess it would be the homeowner's responsibility, much like snow.
The DPW did do it in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Take care
He did-
of weeds.
Yeah, he did say he
And
did
you
some
noticed
stuff.
that because it's beginning of August, and they're just starting to sprout up now, where in years past, it was in July, it was in
Yeah.
June. So
They're
they did.
probably weed whacking.
Right. So they did a pass already.
Okay.
So I'll talk to Gary about what we can do. But really, we are asking for the homeowners to take care of the area in front of the house. That is the law.
You know, the other thing on Cousins, by the Sacred Heart School, they were doing a crosswalk there, and the machine blew up, and there's paint all over it. I've asked 3 times to get it cleaned. The company should be responsible for cleaning that.
Yes, they should. I've also asked.
Are they going to do it?
I was told that he would come back and clean it. I was told that they clean the house and they clean
They did clean the house, I checked on
something
that.
else. And I said, well, what about the sidewalk?
It's not been done yet.
And that has to be done. He's actually coming back to do some more work, so
Okay,
we are gonna, I asked Gary to follow up with him.
okay.
Anything else? Public comment?
Mr. Mayor, Board, I'm Ed Rose. I just happened to be watching the earlier version of the meeting and wanted to make sure you put a face with a name. And I was involved with the Memorial Park redesign, and I'm glad to see that Trustee Howard is as interested as I am in keeping it from being a non-political issue. I think and acknowledge that parks need to be updated and need to be maintained. There's a lot of reasons why some of the things in Memorial Park are there and look the way they do. For that very reason, maintenance was a prominent issue. When you start working with memorialization committees, you realize the sensitivity to many of the matters that come up in putting plaques or any kind of memorialization items in a location. Doesn't necessarily have to be a park, but in a location. At Memorial Park, not to extend your meeting, I'd be happy to be part of a group that would talk about that, including the veterans,
Great.
and those groups, civic organizations that would have an interest in having the focus of Memorial Park be what it's there for. We're glad to see that, I'm glad to see that it didn't have some of the art that was in the park last year, this year, for obvious reasons. Not that I don't like art, but some art may have not been appropriate for that park. The plaques in the park that are there, I believe, I recall, are generic for the reason of the difficulty in sometimes being specific about names and the accuracy of some of the information. So there are records in the meetings of past village boards when we did start to redesign Memorial Park, and there should be some other records from later boards when they were putting in the 9/11 memorial and all. So, I mean, I do think there are a few people around town that know enough about how it came about. I'd caution that the memorialization, or the Memorial Park Task Force, at one time attempted to accrue some of the monies to help redo the park because you didn't want to be burdened by the budget processes of government. And oftentimes that can stagnate the movement of an ambitious group. So in the park, now to do some things that would have to require maybe a 501c3 to get involved in the fundraising, it was easy to divert the funding of certain issues in your park to your government because you could spend it under your maintenance lines. And but it also raises some other issues about how do you fundraise and how do you get the groups behind you donating and for what purpose and how specific. I'll just give you one anecdote, and that was the fountain. At one point, when we talked about putting the fountain, a person was interested in donating what they thought was going to be an individual drinking fountain in memorial of their warrior. And that wasn't the intent at that time because that would trigger a number of other personal donations for infrastructure items that would be tough to maintain. So the fountain that was there was more of a beautification fountain. And that was in a plan that was designed, and we followed that design. Our committee of Trustee Sporbert, and we had Mr. Harney and Mr. Demarest involved, and Floopy Hannigan in that first development of Memorial Park. Those men helped lead us towards what we hoped was going to be virtually little maintenance and to use the existing pieces that were already in the park. Since that time, I do think our veterans can provide a very valuable service of updating for the conflicts that we've been involved with since, and I recognize those heroes as well. So, I mean, I'd be perfectly happy to work with a group in a non-political way to make Memorial Park what it should be.
Thank you.
Okay?
And the American Legion is a 501c, so that's one of the reasons why I directed that, and I agree with you.
Right.
That you need that in fundraising efforts. So thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, West Point, over a long period of time, and I worked with some of the memorialization people up there, it's a difficult and sensitive item to work through, and gets even more sensitive when it's in a political arena. So I think you're wise in trying to come up with a design or a plan that you will follow, and everyone can, and the groups that are interested mostly will take an active interest in, and then if they don't speak up, forever hold your peace at that point, but at least put the artwork, put the design out there and let people come before the board and voice their opinion. So thank you for allowing me the time.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Rose.
Mr. Mayor? At the planning board, I don't even know if you guys want to start to look at this, but we realized that the escrow accounts with the planning board have been a nightmare for the clerk. So we drafted up this escrow account information that we were informed by the attorney
Well, I got one of those the other night, to replenish it at 40%, is that the one? Okay.
that the escrow accounts, once you get to 40%, they should be replenished by the applicants. And even if it's for a short while right now, I would hope that you guys can take a look at this and adopt it. Like I said, only to help alleviate the nightmare that we've been going through. And speaking on that, there is a outstanding balance on one of the projects, and I was hoping to speak with the treasurer, possibly after the meeting on that, on how we can pay this. There's, how would I put it?
Diplomatically.
Difficulty in the way the applicant and the owner of this project proceeded. So we, generally it would be attached to the taxes when they don't pay. So I want to speak with the treasurer about how we can arrive at getting that payment so we can pay our consultants, if you're okay with that. Sure. You good?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we need to bring it up here. The
No,
worst case
we
scenario,
don't. Just go ahead and, go ahead and talk to.
you don't want to go over those.
No.
So also, we did some in-house stuff. I just want to keep you apprised and everybody in the loop on what's going on at the planning board level. We talked about extension requests and how that is a nightmare for the planning board. So we have come up, and this will be in-house with us, how we have a extension request form and the approval dates. So something new that we're going to adopt, just so you guys know. I can get you copies, but like I said, this is in-house, and our attorney said that we'll be able to do that. Also notice that an affidavit for placing of iron pins is not in our code book, in the village code book, so we have one of those. Again, something that we can do in-house and require when applications get their approval before our board. There's also another one, there's a sample letter that I have set up for when we send out the plans to the different agencies, giving them 30 days notice to get back in touch with us. If they don't, then obviously they are saying they have no problem with the project. But it's something that covers us and keeps the process rolling, and we have something to go back on. So I just wanted to let you guys know that we're working on those issues, along with a couple other ones. And one quick thing, talking about the parks, we just got a parkland fee for a project. It's called the Fayette Project, between Clayce Avenue and West Street. It was $10,000. I think that parkland fee would be a great place to utilize that money, possibly at Memorial Park. Just saying.
Where does the Fee Little Parklands revenue go to? When,
Mr. Mellon, this is the first project that we actually got, a subdivision like that, where we could get some money into the coffers to work on.
wasn't Windhaven, I thought they were the first one.
They were, but that was before, that was a long time ago.
I was not on the board at that point in
Okay.
time.
Yeah, but I just don't know where that revenue goes.
It should go into the recreation fund.
Yeah, okay.
Well, because the recreation fees are in lieu of providing recreation.
Okay.
So they really should be used for recreation and should go into the
Now,
recreation fees.
Village recreation fee. Village recreation.
Yes, it's tied to the land.
right.
It's tied to the land.
So
So if the land is in the village, it should go, yeah.
So are you saying that we couldn't use that for the park then?
Well, I mean, if you have, if the parks are used for recreation, which they are, right? I mean, they're used for people to walk and generally.
Isn't it specified in the law? Isn't it specified, normally the usage of those funds are specified in the law, so maybe we should pull up the law.
Yeah. There's no reason to jump. It's awesome, we have $10,000, we'll make sure it's in the proper account, and then we'll move forward on that.
And we were just talking about the potential match for the dredging of,
Right, exactly.
so.
Pro Park.
Yeah, it could help with that.
I'm sure we'll
And,
spend
and
it.
recreation could also come under the senior center? Anything that the that is recreation for the seniors too. Or possibly even the center, right? I mean, don't we give them some money? Is that considered rec?
Well, we have there's a lot of things that are considered rec. but
Okay.
Basically, it's more, right now, we'll make sure the account's created, and we'll move forward after that.
All right, great.
Thank you for.
Nope, no problem.
Yeah. Any other public comment?
What?
With that, I